it sets up a real interesting dynamic in that you have the adult, often an older adult, like a grandparent almost, talking to almost like a grandchild when you think of the generations. And so what results and what's written and what is published and maybe artwork, there's all examples of artwork on the back. So I don't know if any of y'all have ever, because you had a school assignment or just because you were curious, sat down with a grandparent or maybe an aunt or an uncle, but somebody, you know, at least your parents' age, maybe 2 generations older, just to try to learn a little bit about what their life was like. And if you go back, you know, in this country, not that far, say 3 generations, a lot different. And so you could have ancestors who came to this country in that time span. You might have ancestors that go back many generations. On my father's side, I have 11 generations in this country. My mother's side, just 1. My mom came through Ellis Island as a little girl. She was about 2 and a half, came from England. Her parents were Russian. And they got out of Russia because there were a lot of revolutions going on at that period of time. So my dad's side just came over in the 1600s or something. So you never know. And these are some of the things that you can learn. You can learn about the experiences that these people endured, in this case definitely endured and survived. So always think about that. Oral history, we call it, the chance to sit and learn from someone, an elder, if you will. You know, more than just do your homework, make up your bed, or let's go grocery shopping. You know, what was life like back in their time? And particularly when they're associated with such a momentous and horrific event as the Holocaust was. I mean, literally an attempt, certainly as I've studied it and learned it, to wipe out the Jewish faith in Europe in the late 1930s and the 1940s. Lots of good books, lots of good movies. You're into reading and studying and talking about this now, and of course can take it as far as you want. So we're real pleased to have this. It's very important here in the college environment as well, because we have a number of courses. We actually have in our history department a course on the Holocaust, taught by one of our history professors who's been here quite a number of years, and he teaches it once every other year, I believe, alternating years. The events, the results, the outcomes touch a variety of other college-level courses, sociology courses, for example. You could use the Holocaust in business courses, what were the impacts, psychology, what personal, mental impacts this would have had on people who survived, that type of thing. So it fits in very well with the college curriculum as well, just like it does for your curriculum. And we try very hard at this university, and a lot of colleges and universities do this, to have our students come in and be exposed to the world around them, the present-day world and the historical world as well. Because it's very easy to grow up in a community and basically, if you think about it, it makes sense. You'll learn, you know, a lot about kind of a narrow band of, you know, cultures and society and stuff like that. We use the word silo sometimes, like a farm silo or a grain elevator. So every opportunity that you have to expand your knowledge and your exposure, to meet people of different religious backgrounds, different races, different cultures, that's all right, no class on it, is to your advantage. So I would encourage you, as I'm sure your teachers do, and adults in your life do, to always take advantage of those opportunities as you go through life. So it's kind of a win, like I say, a win-win situation here. We have this for the college community, we have it for groups like yours to come up and visit us and take a look at it. Does anybody have any questions about what they've seen here, or might relate to what you're studying in your classes? Do language arts? Yes, ma'am.
All these stories reminds us of the movie we watched too, because they all look familiar to the movie.
Okay. Which movie did y'all watch? The feature film or a documentary?
Documentary.
The documentary thing.
What was the name of it?
You remember that?
I don't remember it.
It was
But the pictures came. It was like
it's something
Okay.
Auschwitz.
Auschwitz? Okay.
Escape from Auschwitz, I think.
So were there scenes in what you watched where they were interviewing people and you actually had folks talking, remembering what Saw her?
I
Okay.
think,
Yeah.
I remember.
I only saw her.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, well, that kind of looks like Aunt Frank. That's why.
Okay. And certainly, folks who have this common experience, particularly those who spent time in a concentration camp, would speak, I mean, individually, of course, because they're all different human beings, but would speak with what we call it like a common voice, because it was certainly a common experience for them. There's a wonderful movie, well, there are a number of movies that touch on the Holocaust, but there's one of the ones I remember, if you ever see it, if you haven't watched it, called Schindler's List. It's actually about, you know, familiar with the title? Yeah, about one man who, because of his list, managed to save the lives of hundreds, a large number of Jewish people. And then one of the ways of looking at it, of course, is for every life saved, you have the opportunity, and of course the age, marital status, and so forth, the individual, of successive generations. And of course that just is like a triangle, it just gets bigger and bigger, you know, children, grandchildren, and so forth like that. And if I remember, that's kind of how the movie ends, or some mention of that, about how many, what the mathematical impact of that was from his list of people saved. So, but it's important for things, events like this, tragedies like this, to not forget them. And it's not that you're trying to rub it in people's faces, but to understand and try to have a sense of, you know, how did something like this happen? Why did it happen? And, you know, you could make the case for saying, just as importantly, maybe more importantly, that to do everything we can as individuals collectively to see that something like this never happens again. And yet, in our modern or contemporary time, you can look around the world, you know, in Africa today, there are various examples of tribal and ethnic wars and things of that nature. Maybe not on the scale of the Holocaust, but when you think about it, some of the themes and reasons seem to be kind of spooky in a way, so it's similar to draw some parallels. On the way out, we'll stop for a couple of minutes and I'll show you, you can look at some of the materials we've collected about an event that you could say has some similarities, parallels to the Holocaust. The Great Famine, the Great Hunger in Ireland, where thousands of Irish people died of starvation. Many more were displaced or had the opportunity to leave the country. Many came to the United States, many to this area, in Boston, Massachusetts. And there were reasons and tragedies and disasters, in addition to agricultural problems, so political problems, because of Great Britain. So we'll look at that in just a couple of minutes. Okay. Any other questions or observations? Good. Well, we're really glad to have you here today. You got a good day to come out. This is definitely the warmest day we've had here in Hampton in quite a while. And a few sidewalks peeking out, so you got some dry concrete to walk on in some cases. But welcome you back to the university at any time. There are lots of things that go on up here, from cultural events to sporting events and such. So if you ever have the opportunity to come with family and friends, you know, please know you can come back. And maybe in a few years we'll see some of you visiting up here, or you're looking at schools to consider for the college